It's Tuesday. The dog's asleep. We wish we were, but we're here, and it looks like it's going to be a cloudy day. It must be time for
the Morning Brew. First day of work yesterday went well. I didn't get home till 12:30.
Yeah, it turns out the bus ride is 3 hours one way.
Yeah.
So
it's a 3-hour travel time. It took me 3 hours to get home last night, and that's with getting a ride to cutting off a mile there, walking just for getting a ride to the bus stop. That was interesting.
Yeah.
But, it's 6 days a week.
Yep. I was going to do an announcement, but I forgot what it was because my brain isn't there. I'll probably remember it by the end of the show. I know. It's early.
Do you remember what it had to do with?
Nope.
Was it Mines? Was it the Mines announcement?
Oh, right. We're uploading all the videos. This one included. All the news videos are going to be uploaded to Mines and in the group. So the group link is down below. And the first comment is going to be my comment because it's the description for the video. Because when you upload it to a group, you can't put a description underneath it unless you comment on it. So that's how I'm getting around that. So, and for those of you that do not know, I found out the hard way. The main reason I couldn't upload yesterday's morning brew to Mines is because they have a 1 gig upload video limit. In other words, a 30 to 40 minute video is their cap. Anything longer than that, and it will not upload to Mines. So we're trying to keep, we're now going to try and keep the morning brew the way we started it, sometime between,
30 and 40 minutes.
Yeah. We usually shoot for 30 minutes. We were doing good there for a while, and then we just sort of went. So
got into some more in-depth stories and things like that.
We did.
We'll get it all worked out.
We'll get there. We'll get there. Speaking of getting there, you know what it's time for?
It's time for the news.
Let me see. UN defends refugee vetting as Trump Mulls revised entry ban. Amman Jordan out of the AP. In an office cubicle at the UN refugee agency, a Syrian woman and her 3 daughters took turns staring into a camera for iris scans. Their biometric registration, a first step toward possible resettlement in the West, is to be followed by interviews and background checks that can take months or even years. The 31-year-old part-time hairdresser who fled to Jordan in 2014 after her husband went missing in Syria's civil war feels fortunate. But the long road ahead for many Syrian refugees could grow even more arduous if President Donald Trump fulfills campaign vows to impose extreme vetting. A week after his inauguration, Trump suspended refugee admissions, arguing that the displaced pose a potential terrorism threat and that his administration needs time to impose more stringent vetting procedures. A federal judge blocked the order, but Trump has said a new version will be announced soon. It's supposed to be coming out sometime this week, to be exact. Trump has announced that he is reducing the U.S. limit for taking in refugees from all over the world from 110,000 to 50,000 a year, leaving fewer spots for refugees from the conflict-scarred Middle East. The U.S. has been leading resettlement destination The U.S. has been a leading resettlement destination, taking in about half of the 20,000 refugees, most of them Syrians, who left to the west from Jordan in 2016, and said Daniela Cicella, a senior refugee agency official in Jordan. And I know I messed that up. The program is one of the most scrutinized ways of entering the United States, Cicella said during a tour of the vetting area at the agency headquarters in Jordan's capital. We've been working very closely with different countries, including with the U.S. authorities in the last years, she said. Trump's initial order asked officials to review the refugee approval process in search of possible entry loopholes, but did not say what additional vetting he wants to see. For now, the process includes in-person interviews during which refugees provide information about families, friendships, social or political activities, employment, phone numbers, and email accounts. They also provide biometric information, including fingerprints, and federal law enforcement and intelligence agencies are consulted for background checks. Syrians are subject to additional classified checks. Their vetting can take up to 2 years. Last year, the U.S. Homeland Security Department said it planned to look more closely at social media postings of people seeking to come to the United States. Analysts at the Homeland Security Department's intelligence arm have found insufficient evidence that citizens of 7 Muslim-majority countries covered by Trump's travel ban, including Syria, pose a terror threat to the U.S. Overall, 673 Syrian refugees arrived in the U.S. in the past month, according to a U.S. refugee aid agency citing government stats. It's too sleepy to pronounce that whole word. Jordan, a key U.S. military ally in the fight against the Islamic State group, a major recipient of U.S. aid, has refrained from criticizing Trump's immigration policies. However, the kingdom views resettlement as one of the ways, along with international financial aid, to ease the disproportionately heavy refugee burden on regional host countries. More than 650,000 Syrian refugees live in Jordan, close to 3 million in Turkey, and more than 1 million in Lebanon. Schools, hospitals, and state budgets, especially in Jordan and Lebanon, have been strained by the mass influx. Government spokesperson Mohammed Momani said Sunday that the international community must do more to help Syrian refugees. If we don't do this, then we'll have generations of lost refugees, uneducated refugees, abandoned refugees, that will continue to create further problems to the host communities in the region, he said. And what I have to say about that is, if they are actually refugees fleeing from that particular country, then I feel for them and their plight and the problems that they're going through. However, as seen in Germany, there are refugees that aren't refugees that are trying to sneak in with the refugees that are causing the problems. And those problems are leading to extreme vetting. And as far as those 7 countries are concerned, they can also fund terrorist activity and be behind it. Ahmadinejad so much as pretty much has thumbs up whatever's going on in there because it's Iran. Need I say more?
Oh.
No, I'm checking something. I'm backwards again. Go.
Oh, okay. Judge to hear arguments on Dakota access oil pipeline work. Bismarck, North Dakota. A federal judge will hear arguments Tuesday about whether to stop the final bit of construction on the disputed Dakota access pipeline, perhaps just days before it could start moving oil. U.S. District Judge James Boasberg in Washington will consider a request by the Standing Rock and Cheyenne River Sioux tribes to order the Army Corps of Engineers to withdraw permission for developer Energy Transfer Partners to lay pipe under Lake Oahe in North Dakota. The stretch under the Missouri River Reservoir is the last piece of construction for the $3.8 billion pipeline that's to move oil through the Dakotas, Iowa, and ship to a shipping point in Illinois. The tribes argue that the mere existence of a oil pipeline under the reservoir that provides water to the neighboring reservation violates their right to practice their religion, which relies on clean water.
Keep going.
Well, I'm just trying to figure out,
How a pipeline
in North Dakota has anything to do with Washington. Because that's not D.C. I think that's Washington State. We'd have to look that up. But.
Probably is Washington State. Right.
When they filed the lawsuit last summer, the tribes argued that the pipeline threatens Native American cultural sites and their water supply. Their religion argument is new, however. And both the Corps and the Energy Transfer Partners argue the delay is right in raising it is a reason for Boasberg to reject the argument. Company attorney William Sherman also said the tribe's claim is suspect based on other man-made infrastructure under the lake, and that the community respects the tribe's religious beliefs but has no legal duty to make concessions for them. Hundreds and sometimes thousands of pipeline opponents who sided with tribal opposition to the pipeline camped on federal land near the drill site for months, often clashing with police. There have been about 750 arrests in the region since August. Authorities last week closed the camp in advance of spring flooding season and set up roadblocks to prevent protesters from returning. Texas-based Energy Transfer Partners began drilling under the lake February 8th. The pipeline could be operating as early as Monday and no later than early April, according to Sherman.
Yep, and as Base Mama has pointed out on several occasions, those protesters they're talking about have left tonnage. I'm talking tonnage in trash and human waste that they are trying desperately to clean out of that area so the water won't be contaminated. I mean, you know, if you're
the protesters are going to destroy, have nearly destroyed the environment surrounding this area.
All right, now as far as their protest is concerned, this map that I'm enlarging over here to the point where you can't really see me is the map of all the pipelines in the United States. Now I'm going to let you take a look at that because, you know, I'm going to venture an educated guess and say, you know, a lot of these pipelines run, I don't know, under Native American land.
I'm looking at the one up here in North Dakota.
Yeah.
The several up there in North Dakota, they're all over Native American lands because all of that is, especially in the western part and everything, just about all of that is Sioux land.
But
I'm looking at one that probably runs across the Black Hills, Sioux land.
But this is the one they decide to protest.
This is the one you're going. This is the one that
This is the one they decide to protest.
Yeah. Okay, whatever.
Yeah, whatever. All right, next story. Here. Okay, here we go. Israeli forces begin evacuating 9 settler homes in the West Bank. Afra West Bank AP. Israeli forces began evacuating 9 homes in the West Bank settlement of Afra on Tuesday, following a Supreme Court decision that ruled they were built on private Palestinian land. Dozens of settlers and their supporters were protesting on the rooftops as military and police forces handed the evacuation orders to settler leaders and asked them to cooperate peacefully and avoid confrontation. Brigadier General Yoram Sofer pleaded with the settlers to act according to moral standards, to assist us, and not to use violence. Earlier this month, Israeli forces uprooted Amona, a nearby West Bank outpost, following a similar court order. The outpost of Amona was the largest of about 100 unauthorized outposts erected in the West Bank without formal permission, but generally with tacit support from the Israeli government. Such evacuations have created tension in the hardline coalition of Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, who has been caught between appeasing his pro-settler coalition allies and respecting the rulings issued by the Supreme Court. The Palestinians want the West Bank, the Gaza Strip, and East Jerusalem, territories Israel captured in the 1967 Mideast War, for their future state. Israel withdrew its troops and settlers from Gaza in 2005, and the territory was subsequently overrun by the Hamas militant group, which is the group they've been fighting ever since. Which is, you know, it's fucked up, but they've been fighting over those strips of land forever, it seems, and they just can't seem to sit down and come to an agreement. Ugh. It's horrible. Let me see. I mean, they've just been, people will sit there and they'll protest and they'll do all this stuff. And The West Bank, out of all the ones, in my opinion, if I am correct, is the one that's in most contention all the fucking time. There's always fighting in the West Bank. There's always people settling, being evacuated, people fighting one another in the West Bank. And it's always, I mean, and the West Bank is like, when you look at Palestine, like over here in this little pocket of what is Israel, and you're looking at the West Bank, the West Bank is like across the way on the coast. And they want this and this. We want two pockets of our Palestinian country in two different places. Of course, if they had it their way and it got rolled back to the 1967, armistice lines, then Israel would effectively be cut in half.
Mm-hmm.
That would be the problem. All right, and for our final.
This is me.
Mm-hmm.
Trump ordering review of Obama rule protecting small streams. Washington. President Donald Trump will sign an executive order Tuesday mandating a review of an Obama-era rule aimed at protecting small streams and wetlands from development and pollution. The order will instruct the Environmental Protection Agency and Army Corps of Engineers to review a rule that redefined waters of the United States, protected under the Clean Water Act, to include smaller creeks and wetlands, according to senior White House officials. Trump had rallied against the water rule during his campaign, slamming it as an example of federal overreach. Farmers and landowners have criticized the rule.
Yep.
But Democrats have argued that it safeguards drinking water for millions of Americans and clarifies confusion about which streams, tributaries, and wetlands should be protected in the wake of decades-long uncertainty despite two Supreme Court rulings. The president has promised to dramatically scale back regulation that he says are holding back businesses and has signed several orders aimed at that goal. The League of Conservation Voters issued a preemptive statement slamming the expected move. This executive order is about one thing: protecting polluters at the expense of our communities and their access to clean drinking water, Madeline Foote, a group's legislative representative, said in a statement.
She can state on all she wants. I gave court cases links down at the bottom of this. There's going to be an announcement when we fade after we do all the fun stuff. I did some reading when I found this article. What Obama did was he made the Clean Water Act, he expanded it to the point where farmers on their own land, in order to enlarge a watering hole for their cattle or livestock, literally had to file a federal permission to do so for their own land to make a water hole bigger.
No.
That's fucking ridiculous. It's their land.
Well, it's ridiculous and everything for anybody to tell you what you can do on your land.
And as far as the water is concerned, he included creeks, streams, small tributaries, and, anything on a farmer's land that has water on it. And yeah, I agree, that's overreach. Because if it's your property, the only thing you should have to do if you're enlarging it is maybe a building permit to enlarge it, but it's a water hole. Animals are going to use it, so how the hell is that supposed to be clean water for other people?
Now, here's the thing that I have to say, and this is for me. A building permit. So I own X amount of land, and I want to put a structure on it, and everything. Just the whole fact of somebody saying everything, well, you have to have my permission to build something on your own land. Actually, no, I don't. What? The only thing that I have to do is make sure that your inspection department inspects it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there are counties in Georgia, and this is going to blow some people's minds, where you literally have to file a building permit if you are paying mortgage on a house to switch out a faucet or a sink in your home.
Mm-hmm.
No joke. There are counties in Georgia to where you can have a $500,000 house on 2 acres worth of land, but you don't have an address Unless you pour a driveway.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to let you guys think about that. It's my state I'm talking about. And I think those are ridiculous.
You have a lot number.
Mm-hmm. You have a lot number until you pour a concrete driveway. Yep. All right. You know what time it is. It's time for recommended views.
Oh, well, let's give these recommended views out.
Tea, Mr. Holmes.
Is it poisoned, Nanny?
First one on the list is our favorite drunken uncle. And we were listening to this a couple of days ago. You guys have got to come see this. This is Marina Shut Up on Gingers versus Black People. And this is a challenge given to him by Drunken Heathen. Oh, he is hilarious in this one, to the point where we could do nothing but sit there and freaking laugh.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I cackled gleefully.
Yeah. In light of the fact that the MCU is actually going to do the Infinity War movies, they're going to kick that off. The next recommended view comes from the channel Comics Explained, where he does the lead up to the Infinity Gauntlet, and he also does the Infinity Gauntlet series on his channel. So if any of you are the least bit curious about this saga, about this comic book series right here, the link is going to be in the description. Please click on it, watch the playlist, and it will answer all your questions about what the Infinity Gauntlet is, what led up to the Infinity War, what happened during it, and how it was resolved. To give you a really good idea of what the source material is that they're getting the story loosely based off of for the movie. And if you want to know why I'm saying loosely, we discussed that on Saturday's stream.
Mm-hmm.
Is there trouble with the DCEU? When isn't there? Today's recommended viewing is Midnight's Edge. Ben Affleck might leave DC for good, and they also review the Lego Batman movie. Now, this is a week old, but for those of you that are following the saga of Ben Affleck and the Batman movie, this is a relevant video to watch. And this is the most recent one in that particular storyline. So you guys come over here and check that out. This is 17 hours old, so this is fresh. This is off of Base Mama's channel, and it's titled Standing Rock and DAPL One More Time Around the Fire. She said she wasn't going to talk about the Dakota Access Pipeline anymore. She flat out said she lied. And she gives you her take on this entire freaking situation. Mm-hmm. So y'all come over to her channel, and that's the recommended video for the day.
And that's Mama.
And that's Mama.
Mama.
She's the mama of the internet.
That's right. And everybody remember, Mama loves you.
Mm-hmm. Mama loves you.
See, she loves me. No, she don't love you. She loves me. She gave me internet hogwash. You were so jelly.
This is one of Ronan's favorites. It's Roary.
The motherfucking lion.
Roary's in a spot. The recommended viewing is his video referring to his GoFundMe link. Mm-hmm. Him and his daughter are in a bind, and they need just enough money in order to move to a new place for a deposit and to turn on the utilities and stuff so they can get out of the piss poor situation they are in. So please watch his video, click on the GoFundMe link that is probably in the description of his video and the description of our video as well. Help out Roary, guys. It's no fun being in a tough spot and not having anybody to help you.
No, not any fun at all.
Nope. And those are the recommended views. So next off.
Next off. I think someone has failed.
No, it's hashtags.
It's hashtags?
It's hashtags.
We're doing hashtags.
We're doing hashtags.
Are we doing my hashtag?
We're doing your hashtag.
Oh my God.
Get ready, y'all.
This escalated quickly, y'all.
This hashtag went down to shitter quick.
I got it. I know all those routines.
You Leo Getz?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's me, Leo Getz. Whatever you need.
There we go. And it scrolls. All right, here we go. Hashtag DickFlix.
Harry and the Hendersons.
Get a hand job.
The Hurt Cocker.
This is Penile Tap.
John Stewart, Little Leibowitz.
Troll for the holes.
Oh, God. Harry Spaceballs.
You picked the hashtag. Planet of the Schmucks.
Shaving Private Ryan.
National Lampoon's Jerk Off Vacation.
American History, Triple X.
Game of Bones.
the girth of a nation.
The magnificent 7 inches.
Diary of a Wimpy Kid.
Knuckle baby geniuses.
Good phallus.
Penis. I love you.
Brave hard.
E.T. the extra testicle. Oh God.
The heat-seeking moisture missiles of October.
Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
Sucking Private Ryan.
Schlong Day's Journey into Night.
Master Bates Hotel.
Frost Nixon.
Schindler's Clit.
Limp Dick and I.
The Devil Wears Smegma.
I guess so. And The Rodfather. And that takes care of hashtag DickFlix. Alright, as usual, if you want to submit any fails, if you want to submit any hashtags, if you want us to highlight any recommended videos you've seen lately and want us to look at and put on the show, all the submission links are down there. Oh yes, I remembered the announcement. Told you I'd remember it by the end of the show. I have decided that the best way in order to have the information up for more than 24 hours is to take the stuff out of the Evernote notes, put them in Google Docs, and put the links in the description from the Google Docs. This also allows all of us that are shitlordy and absolutely love information to download the Google Doc, print it, do whatever you want to it. You can do a response video, or even if you want to, you can add information or informational links to it. That way we can grow the information. That way we can go back to it at a later date and maybe even do response videos to it with the new information on it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that's the idea, so you guys can interact with the news. Now, keep in mind, anything lewd, anything not pertaining to the story that is on the Google Doc, anything that is absolute trolling, and anything that is cursing and irrelevant to the story will be deleted. Okay? So keep it story relevant. And on that note, my friends, may your coffee ever flow, may your caffeine be ever strong, and may your Tuesday be totally terrific.
Where's my tacos?
I don't know.
Have a good day.
Thanks for spending a bit of your morning with us as we sipped coffee, talked news, and had fun in the process. We appreciate you stopping by our little corner of YouTube and invite you to start a conversation in the comment section below. Don't forget to check out yesterday's video on the top right or a recommended video on the bottom right. And as always, stay funny, stay weird, and stay caffeinated.